I call in the energy of the sacred space. I call in the wisdom of the elements: earth, water, fire, air, and spirit. I call in every soul who is meant to find this podcast. May what is shared here serve the highest good of all who listen. So mote it be. There's a moment, or maybe not a single moment at all, you begin to shift when the life you have been living starts to feel like a costume that no longer fits. When you find yourself standing in the middle of everything you thought you wanted and being completely and utterly lost. If you know that feeling, then you are exactly where you are meant to be right now. Welcome to Awaken with Desaree. I am so glad you have found me and you are here today. I am Desaree. I am a Wiccan, a spiritual guide, coach, and founder of Awaken with Desaree LLC. This podcast is a sacred space for seekers, witches, the soul who feels this pull of something deeper, and the courage to actually follow it. But today we're going to begin at the very beginning with my story, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hear pieces of your own story within mine. So let's begin. My story pretty much begins about 15 years ago. I started feeling a pull towards nature, towards the woods, water. I love the water. Fire's always been beautiful to me, the way it dances. And with this pull, I started to realize that I was very curious. And at that moment, I had noticed that around me was chaos. Around me was tragedy. Around me was a life that I was not happy in. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't have purpose. And I was very lost. With this curiosity, I started to wonder if there was more. What more is out there? What more is there to see? So I did start doing some research, like I said, and I just kind of noticed that within all of this research, I kept finding little pieces of myself. And nothing happens overnight, that is for sure. Realizing that I needed something different took a while. The curiosity did not happen overnight as well. My family had a lot of loss. My personal life had not only loss, but inside turmoil and outside turmoil. There were things that I was not happy with myself, and there are things that I was not happy with my marriage, with my home life, and a new change had to come, but I didn't know how. So like I said, I started researching. I started wondering, what else can I do to help myself, to help guide me on a path that I need to go down? And once I realized that I needed help, I couldn't do this on my own. I sought out counseling, and the first year or two of counseling, I still didn't know what I wanted. I still didn't know how to get there. There was a lot of I didn't know. And one day, I started to awaken slowly. Little things started to say, hey, come this way. Hey, learn this. And with that, I did. I said, okay, what is it about these elements that are so unique and so special? And I started to realize how they all came together as a team. They did work by themselves, but a lot of things couldn't work unless they worked together. And same as getting on the journey, the awakening took a while. It took a while for me to fully get that appreciation back, get that understanding back, and purpose. So every day that went by, I took another step forward. Sometimes I took some steps back. I started researching shadow work, and I started doing that for myself. That started to open up a whole nother realm of identity, dealing with things you didn't even know you were dealing with, to awaken different parts of your soul, of your memories. And that did, it opened doors. And it allowed me to see deeper inside of myself, as well as understanding my place in the universe, understanding why I'm here, where I need to go. And I started to take that path. I started slowly. I started meditating. I found myself pulled towards the Norse mythology. I had a calling at one point, and I had no idea who was calling for me. But I heard the name Freya. And Freya is the god of love and war within the within the Norse mythology. I had no idea who that was. So I did some more research, and I learned as much as I could about her. I learned how to call upon her. I learned what she liked, what she didn't like, things to give as an offering, things to use within my daily life, to call upon her, to keep myself safe, to keep myself calm. And I felt not only a pull towards that, but I felt an ease, a calming. And with that came a broader spectrum. It showed me paganism, and going down the paganism walk, I learned about Wiccan. And I started to branch out into Wiccan. That was where my calling was. And if you don't know the difference between Wiccan and pagan, pagan is like an umbrella, just like Christianity is. Christianity is an umbrella that branches out into different sections. You've got your Methodist, your Baptist, all of that, those different branches. And that's what paganism is. Wiccan is a branch of paganism. And the largest difference is paganism, Wiccan, is not a religion. It's kind of a way of life. It's how we become one with nature. It's how we become one with the universe. And it's how we can give back and how things can help us. It's a give and take. And as I'm learning all of this and getting a deeper understanding of what is needed from myself and what I need. The awakening began. And as the awakening started, my life got better. I had at one point been homeless, living with friends. I didn't have a car. I had lost all my belongings in a house fire and a divorce. I was literally starting over. But one day I seen a sign for an IT school, and it was free. You just had to call, sign up, and Michigan Reconnect is what it's called, would then help and pay for your schooling. I said, why not? Why not? I am at ground zero right now and I need to figure out what to do. So I gave him a call. I got signed into an IT information class. It was about 16 weeks long. I've always loved technology. I've always been drawn towards IT. It's another love of mine. So there I went to school and I learned the foundations of everything I wanted to do, career-wise. And then at graduation, it was like, okay, it's time to find a job now. And that was the hard part. Everybody wants you to have experience. They want 1 year, 2 years, whatever experience. And it's like, okay, well, how do you get that experience if no one will hire you? So then I felt like, whoa, was this a waste of time? I hope not. And instead of feeling bad or down on myself, I started to branch out and just look for any job that I could get my foot in the door, start working, earning some money, getting myself settled, and then I can worry about working my way up. And that's what happened. I found a great job at a company, and in orientation, I seen the IT guys coming in to help with computers and the AV setup, and I called one of them over to my desk and I said, hey, I see that there's a IT work here. And he said, yeah. I said, how do you get into that? He said, you start as an intern and just keep a look at the job postings online, and when the time comes, apply. And that's what I did. I applied shortly after I got hired, and I didn't get an interview. That's okay. I had just started. I was at ground zero, and I was happy where I was at. So let's just keep going. It came about 4 months later, another IT position opened up. I applied for it. I even did a job shadow. Well, when I talked to the boss, he said that he needed people with a certain clearance, and I hadn't gotten mine yet. So I thought, okay, while I'm waiting on this clearance, let's just keep doing what we're doing and keep moving along. I was finally able to get into my own townhouse. I had my own car, and things were starting to really look up. I had my independence back, and I was happy. I was legitimately happy, even though I was living by myself, which I have never done before, because I've been married for so long, and then I was with my mom. So as time went, I got my clearance, and right shortly after I got my clearance, an IT position opened up. And I thought, this was my calling. There's no way that I got my clearance and it opened up. I was excited. So with that being said, I applied. I got an interview, which I had not gotten before. I was so excited. And at that interview, I couldn't read anybody. There were 2 people in that interview. The boss, who I am currently working under, and I believe it was an HR woman. I couldn't read either one of them. I had no idea if I got it or not. A few days later, the boss that I was working under at that time said, congratulations. And I was like, congratulations for what? She said, you haven't seen your email? I said, no. She said, go look at your email. There was my offer to start my IT internship. And it's now been a year that I've been in the IT field at my job. And I love it. I love every minute of it. And I have been able to move into a better place. I've lost weight. I'm happy. And I am still single. And that's okay. Because I am still in school working towards my bachelor's degree, which is amazing. I have a career I love, and now I'm starting my own business, and I love it. So to me, I'm still on the journey, but my awakening is so open and so bright, but it'll never end. I will keep moving forward and keep moving up as much as I can. So why did I start Awakening with Desaree when I had so much more going on and going for me? This IT career was amazing. Things were just getting so good. What made me start Awaken with Desaree LLC? Well, I'll tell you. Because of my journey, because of where I started and where I ended up, and how I'm still growing, and I'll never stop growing. But because of that, I feel like I can share not only my story, but I can share my tools, things that have worked for me, and even things that have not worked for me. Because everybody uses different tools. Different tools work good for some people. Everybody's journey is different. So I thought, why not branch out and start teaching? Start showing people that there is hope. They can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And it takes time. Like I said, nothing happens overnight. But as long as you keep moving forward, even if you take one step forward and 2 steps back, don't quit. Keep moving. Keep going forward. And you will find that not only will you be happier, but you'll accomplish so much more than you ever dreamed you could. And that's what I want to see. I want to hear the stories of those I've touched. I want to hear how you have grown. I want to hear how things are going for you. But I also want to be here for you. I want you to be able to ask questions, whether it's email, in the chats, in my messages, anywhere you feel comfortable leaving me a message, please do so. And I will address it privately, or if you want me to, I can address it in a podcast so more people can hear the question and get the answer, because I guarantee you are not the only one with that question. Just like they said in school, no question is a dumb question. And I just want to make sure that I can spread positivity. I can spread meaning. And that is what Awaken with Desaree is all about. But right now, I want to leave you with one question. And I want this question to sit with you this week. Not to answer out loud, just to hold. The question is this: what part of yourself have you been afraid to meet? Because I promise you, that is exactly where your magic is waiting. Sit with that, and I will see you next week. I also want to thank you for being here for this very first episode of Awakening with Desaree. It means more than you know that you chose, more than you know that you chose to spend this time with me. If this podcast resonates with you, If you heard something that made your soul say yes, please follow or subscribe whenever you are listening, so you never miss an episode. And if you feel called to, leave a review. It helps more souls find their way to the sacred place. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. I have Awaken with Desaree just about everywhere you can think of. And everything I offer, the Shadow Workbook, the 5-day Elemental Restart, guided meditations, one-on-one, it will all help more souls find their way to the sacred place. Next week, we're going to dive into elements: the earth, water, fire, and air, and don't forget the spirit, and how they are not just forces of nature, but mirrors of our own souls. The link is always in the show notes. Next week, excuse me, but until then, may you walk in your magic, however your shadows, and never stop awakening. So blessed be.